Hey, um, your your mic sounds a bit low quality. Is it using the right thing? Okay. Oh, that sounds it's a big improvement, yeah. I really don't drive as much anymore, so I never get time to try out different models. Yeah, there's loads of people comment on it.
What's up, guys? Happy
Hey, Deep.
Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, I was late. I was down in production. I forgot about this. We just had our first ever 500 comma 3x. Comma 3x is built in a week, which is pretty cool. Really getting the rate, which we build these things up. We're gonna sell them. Sales are up, so good stuff. Good stuff going on in production. The big news this week is 099 is cut. Will be cut on 4:30. I believe that's Wednesday. 1 week from now. Next Wednesday. We're hoping to have Tomb Raider ready. You guys can kind of see the status of that. Harold posted the little meta drive convergence test. Let me repost it here for you guys. So the Autonomy team had some nice bug fixes last weekend that yielded this. One of the cool things you'll see with the Tomb Raider models, if you guys remember from when the MLSim models were master, or if you still drive on MLSim models now, if you like, so OpenPilot's always, since we've had laneless, it'll like kind of steer around cars, like park cars and stuff. But these models are a lot more reactive and understanding of these scenes. So the latest Tomb Raider models that are on master now, they also have a bit of this, which is pretty cool. Aside from that, yeah, Tesla. I think Shane's gonna try to get those Honda ports in. So yeah, not a massive release. Yeah, we're gonna keep up the every 2-month release cadence. If Tomb Raider doesn't make it this release, we're planning to do a very quick 0910 with Tomb Raider before CVPR, so we can have some kind of MLSim model in release by CVPR, and then when we present the paper and stuff, you can say like, hey, this is shipped, which would be really cool. And we could drive to Nashville. Yeah, yeah. So he's working on like a nice blog post for that, so I didn't want to spoil anything. He's been really working hard on that blog post. It has like some nice interactive elements and stuff. Yeah, so we'll be at CVPR in June. Should be pretty cool. Not a lot of I talked about this last time, but you see some of these papers and they have really cool stuff, right? If you guys saw like the Wave blog post recently, where they have something that looks a lot like MLSim, but looks gorgeous, right? Looks way better than MLSim, but they don't have a policy train in that simulator. As far as we know, there's nobody that has anything that looks like the models we train in those simulators, and this would be pretty big if they did. So we can assume it's like a reasonable assumption that if they did, they would say it. Obviously, no one here is driven with a wave. No one knows how a wave is relative to OpenPilot. And you know how we feel about that. If nobody's ever driven on one, you can't, don't believe that it's real. You could drive a Waymo, you could drive an FSD, you could drive an OpenPilot. You can kind of rank those. You could drive a Super Cruise, Blue Pilot. No, Blue Pilot's the Ford 4. Blue Cruise is the Ford system, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say a scam, but anyway, that's kind of the cool news. So we'll have 099 the end of this month. We'll still do the release crew thing. I think that was very helpful. It kind of went on for a long time last release, but that was obviously because we rewrote lots of core parts of OpenPilot. So that really helped polish things up. We'll do it again. Hopefully, we only need like an iteration or two. I can share looking at the mean time between failure on release. It's looking good. So I think for the blog post, since we don't have like a whole lot of stuff, maybe we'll do some updates in the blog post. I don't know if anybody has any ideas of what they want to see in the blog post, but I'm thinking of trying something slightly different this time. Like maybe we'll provide some updates on like mean time between failure stuff. Sorry, I wanted to comment from my workstation. Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah, we can.
All right, cool. Let me post this. So those are some of the event stats from release. So if you guys remember, I posted those for the release crew every once in a while. So those are from the actual release, like the last few days. Mostly car specific stuff, and then that manager watchdog thing is. Oh, you guys can't see me now. So the manager watchdog thing is when the UI freezes and we have to restart it because of the driver bug. Once we move to the Raylib UI, that we won't be susceptible to that bug anymore. It'll be really cool. Simpler stack. You just get all these fixes for free, and you're not as susceptible to these bugs. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. Anything anybody wants to see in the blog post? I was thinking FireRose update, maybe mean time between failure update. And then I like what we did for gasketing last time. We had like some more videos. So maybe if we ship the Tomb Raider model, we'll do some nice videos of things that it does better. A lot of times we usually just post like aggregate statistics, but I think it's also kind of cool to just see an individual event and it helps you kind of visualize. Yeah, more clips. I think it's just we need more clips in general around here. More clips. More clips. Yeah, I mean people do. I mean I appreciate the visuals. Like I wrote that. Yeah, I usually am the one who adds them to the release, and then I go back later and read the release, and even I appreciate them. It gives you like a nice story for the release. Cool. So that's 099. Anything else anybody wanted to ask about 099? Think anybody wants to get in? One thing I really do want to get into is for you, Cameron. I want to migrate at least some of the UIs to the Raylib, at least the spinner and text and the We can't do the ones that are in Agnos, obviously. Maybe the updater would be cool. Um, just to
Yeah,
just so spiritually we're in the Raylib mindset, you know. We'll have ship some Raylib, which will be cool.
yeah. Yeah, the spinner and the text thing. I commented to tag Maxime that I see tearing when I scroll on the text widget, so I just wanted him to see if it's just me or if he can reproduce that.
What's the
But
issue?
yeah, I
The scrolling?
uh, yeah, when you scroll on the text widget in the Raylib version, there's tearing as well.
Is there? Hmm.
Yeah, I
I don't know
just
where that
put a
tearing is
video
from.
of what I see.
And it looks just like the QT tearing.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
That's interesting. That
I
is very
can.
interesting. But it doesn't. Oh, wait, I've seen this. I don't think it's the same. No, no, it's not the same. It doesn't have that purpley thing, does it?
Um, okay, I don't think I've seen the purple.
Oh, here you got a video.
Oh, it's not playing. It doesn't.
Oh, yes. This is different tearing. This is a Raylib bug. This is, I
Okay,
mean, not a Raylib. It's, I think it's our bug. But it's, yeah, this is just, it's a bug in our stuff. Or Raylib. It's a bug in Raylib text. Whether it be in our implementation or maybe it's in Raylib, I doubt it.
okay.
But yeah, the that is very reproducible. So yeah, that's not super interesting for, I mean, it's interesting for us as developers. Should make it very easy to work on the UI going forward. Mm, Reduce build time a whole lot too. No more QT and those MOCs, and it generates all these intermediate things. Make it nice and fast. It would be nice to have a Discord bot that does /clip. I don't know, is Nelson here? I've tried to use his replay clipper thing in the past, and I just didn't find it that easy. I would really love if somebody finished up that clip.py bounty to make essentially the Nelson replay clipper, but like a really nice, easy tool. Um, is it reliable? I don't know. Do other people have like an easy time using Nelsons? Maybe it's easy when like replicate. Yeah, this is a great community project to figure out. Like once we have clip.py, we can do so many things. We can do the Discord bot. It works well on replicate, but I wish it were local. Yeah, so nobody can use it locally. Okay, I see. So my experience wasn't that different from your guys's. But is the replicate experience good? Can we? How is the replicate one good? Let's look into this actually. Nelson replay. Hmm. I see. I see. I don't know. Oh, so you have this kind of working on your thing. Yeah, I've been thinking about refactoring the driving feedback again a little bit on Discord. And random vibes, and then it's kind of frustrating asking people with random vibes like, hey, can you upload logs? And they're like, why do I have to upload logs? And you have to like kind of get them oriented every time. um, so I think we may add some channel that's like trusted driving feedback, and anybody can get in there, but you gotta pass a test or something, or we'll just kick you out real fast if you don't provide logs. Basically, where everything that is in there, once it's posted, we can immediately like kind of look into it. um, yeah, we need more clips. More clips. Has anybody else tried clip.py? Is there like something fundamentally difficult about it? Clip.pi. Yeah, someone else should try it. Anybody in here want to try clip.pi? This would be an incredible feature. All the replay infrastructure is there. This shouldn't be too hard. Maybe add a QR code that I was scanning will upload all files on the device, and you can tell noobs to just do that. No, but I mean, that's not the problem. That's not the problem. Like, you can link it to Discord. Don't understand. I've been driving the Tesla a lot too. Their feedback thing is pretty good. We may want to think of something like that. But yeah, Connect definitely needs to be better. The Discord needs to be, yeah. I'm hoping, yeah, really, once we ship Tomb Raider and full ML Sim, we'll hopefully have a much tighter loop on like post issue. You know, we add it to something, and then like we could fix very specific driving behaviors much more quickly. No, I don't. Yeah, yeah, but yeah. I think the driving feedback stuff is worth rethinking a bit. We also have our own like Slack driving feedback. It'd be nice if we all just use Discord too. Where our Slack one suffers from the same exact problem, where it's like, can you post log? Cool. Yeah, if somebody wants to pick up clip.py, that'd be incredible. And then the other bounty I want to shill for is self-driving car for free V2. So I don't know how many of you are around for V1, but basically, back in the day when we were in the Comma 2 and Eon and all that kind of stuff. Oh, Lucas is working on it. Great. Okay, Lucas is working on it. Lucas will do a great job. There'll be some real German engineering. Awesome. Okay, so Lucas has got it covered. But the idea is that, you know, $1,000 is still kind of a lot to get into. Yeah, back in the day, we had like, you'd find out about OpenPilot. You're like, oh, okay, there's this Neo thing I could build, or at least this is what they started with. It's still kind of based on a phone, and then people made Freons, and there was like a pretty reliable pipeline for people to build Freons. You go on like eBay, buy a $50 Leco with like a broken screen or something, maybe buy a Panda, and for like a couple $100, you can have something that you could do like carports on, you can drive around on, all that kind of stuff. So the goal is to kind of get back to that, and we haven't really had that on the Comma 3 generation. We want something that people can drive on with OpenPilot Master, do carports, basically like a real intro to OpenPilot. That's as cheap as possible, but has a very minimal diff as far as a 3x and as far as the code base. So it's really important that it's still Panda, super important that it uses a car harness. Those are pretty fundamental to OpenPilot and OpenDBC. But other than that, like you can imagine you're a college student who has like a Corolla, and you're like, oh, that's cool. I can play with I can do some cool stuff with my car. And you see the 3x, you're like, okay, $1,000. That's a bit much. Then you go on the website and you see, oh, there's self-driving car for free V2, or let's call it comma 0, and that's like $300. And you could plug it into like your M1 MacBook Air. That's kind of the idea. So hopefully, like lowers the barrier for this stuff a whole lot. If you're like in Europe or China or something, and you know it's expensive to buy pandas and stuff. Fortunately, there's like a whole clone market for you. You could build your own comma 0. Like Mr. One was saying, he's got some red panda thing with a harness for $100. That's great. Yeah, we want to pick stuff that's like as widely available as possible. Fortunately, our hardware is pretty available kind of anywhere now. Or at least, yeah, versions, kind of knockoffs of our hardware that are compatible with the code. At least I hope they're compatible. Does anybody know if they're not compatible with all the upstream stuff? I assume they're just direct clones. Anybody know? Yeah, let's just assume they are. Yeah. Anybody have any thoughts on comma 0 v2? I think it'll be get a lot of new people in here. People who may have been turned off by the price, and who would otherwise like to do carports and stuff. Kind of the idea. Yep. More contributors means we hire more people, which means OpenPilot gets better for you. Lower barrier to entry, yeah. Yeah, you guys are talking about feedback and connect. I want to make that a lot more. Yeah. That needs some work. Even just like chopping stuff up in connect and like, yeah, finding stuff in connect, that could be a lot easier. Deprecate Discord eventually. All in connect. Yeah, I don't know. This is probably something the community can actually help out with a lot, like refactoring the feedback mechanisms, because these are going to become really important this year. But for sure, I think we need the clips. The clips are so nice to have. We need the clips on every feedback item. Maybe we like up the rest of the Q cams a bit, such that you can use the Q cams instead of like relying on the HVACs. Be kind of nice if we could figure out some way to use the Q logs too. But the Q logs need to stay small. Yeah, we got to think about this a bit. When can we ship a web browser? No, we're going the opposite direction. Opposite direction. Clipper and Connect was really nice. Yes, it was. Well, the idea of it was nice. It works sometimes. We really want to bring it back. How did it work before? It was kind of like Nelson's replay clipper, except it was like 10x more complicated than that. There was a Clipper and Connect, yeah, very briefly. Yes. So yeah, there's a couple things for the community to think about. We got comma 0 v2. We got clips and driving feedback, stuff like that. I mean, like the Reddit is a whole lot of like just noobs who are getting started and people with like issues. Be nice if it was more like, hey, look at this cool OpenPilot thing. OpenPilot just drove around this. Yeah, like how can we shift that more about cool OpenPilot experiences? Because for sure, the number of cool OpenPilot experiences vastly outnumbers the people who are having issues otherwise. We would not sell as many 3Xs as we do. Yeah, some things to think about. We don't. Be nice to have a way. Can I just ask you about the bookmarks when you log in? Have a way to type what's wrong, then hit submit. Connect used to have this too. We just never looked at it. So we have to make sure it's something we can. I think the first step is to still keep this like fairly manual and make it a thing like where we can converse with you. But I think maybe there'll be like you'll just slice it kind of the way you do in Current Connect, where you drag on the timeline, then you're like, okay, share to Discord, and then maybe it pulls up the Discord form, or the form is in Connect, and then it's posts on Discord, and I think we have to make Connect a native app again too, so it can like jump to Discord and all that kind of stuff. Will the Clipper run on the backend in your Azure cluster or what? That's how it used to run. It can still do that. The problem is it relied on you uploading the HVACs, and then, this is like a couple hundred megs per segment. So if you span multiple segments, it's just like so slow, and you need the device to be up anyway. So I think it may be faster to just do it on device, and then maybe fall back to Azure if you have the Q cams but not the HVACs, something like this, or even in browser. But yeah, again, I think the first step is like, and Warby, you definitely have like a local OpenPilot setup, and I think you would use clip.py all the time if you knew it worked. Like I'm sure you know plot juggler is going to work. You know the replay tool is going to work. We need a clip.py tool that you know for sure is going to work. What if I'm generating a clip for an old route? Yeah, I mean the UX around that was never very good, and like partial segments and stuff. Yeah, that's something that needs to be worked on. But I think clips is like pretty central to this whole thing. Maybe Cameron will work on that once. It'd be great if the community did it, but maybe we'll work on this once the. I mean, we have a lot of Raylib stuff to do and a lot of new Connect stuff to do, but maybe we'll transition to clips at some point.
I think Craig, you had a stab at the clip pie, didn't you? Like I was just wondering what the problems you had with it were.
Yeah, we can pull it up. Let's see. I don't know. Do you remember if the one that was in XX was like readable? I don't remember. I can check.
Um, I
Let's
didn't
see my.
think it was too bad. I remember it being a lot of lines, but it did like 360 videos with FFmpeg stuff.
Okay, so I found the
Obviously,
work.
it didn't render the UI, so it's completely different, really, to
Oh, it never
what.
rendered the UI. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, you're right. Okay, it never rendered the UI. That's why it was fine.
I guess the only tricky bit about this is like running the UI off screen and trying to turn that into a video.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we definitely need the UI though. I think it's way less useful without the UI. Hmm. It's the perf issues when window runs off screen. Is it? On like you're running this on like a modern computer and you're having performance issues. I don't know. Are there any other like community clip tools? There's just not enough OpenPilot clips out there. We gotta get the number of OpenPilot clips up. Like as soon as one OpenPilot clip touches Reddit, it still gets like hundreds of upvotes. I saw one on the Rivian subreddit that was like doing a pretty cool maneuver, but it didn't have the OpenPilot UI, and I think he was using the QCam, so it looked pretty bad. I think they would have thought it was a lot cooler with the whole OpenPilot UI. But the purpose use shouldn't be. You're having issues because you're trying to run it in real time, I assume. But you should be able to run it non-real time and just go frame by frame. If I could save the current segment, yeah, dash cam, okay. We're making the driving better for you. We're not making you a better dash cam. We're making OpenBio Drive better for you. The UI is tightly coupled to events running at fixed FPS. Hard to shove as much data through as possible. I mean, there should be ways around this. Like, we have that UI screenshot tool that kind of sets up the UI in specific states, and it's pretty reliable at this. You should be able to do something similar for this. When you say you need this, what's the can be more cost? I don't understand what you were saying, sir. I was mounting only on-road window, not the whole UI. Oh, I wouldn't even. Yeah, I think you were trying to do something very specific with a Qt UI too. I would just start the UI and just treat it like a black box and just send all the messages. And have some separate like recording tool. Cool. Are there any those are kind of the updates for the week. I don't know if Harold has anything cool he wants to drop in the chat. Yassine is out for the week. So no updates on the Yassine front, but I believe your Tomb Raider update from the weekend was Yassine bug fix. So he did have one gift for you guys before he left. Shane gets back today, I think. And I think he's gonna try to work. He's gonna work on fixing cut-ins. But yeah, we got to get you the data set update. Yes. Shane channeling his Connect review energy to Android. Looks like low speed laterals biggest issue. Yeah. I don't think he has a mic. Can't hear him. And also, if you're trying to do this on Linux, it doesn't really work on Linux. You might want to use your phone. Or you can come to my office if you want to talk. Well, he's getting set up. We also had some. He'll fix that for next time. Our 5090s should be shipped. Our first batch should be shipped this week. So more compute for training more models for you guys. That's some good news. Cool. I think that's all we have for you guys this week. Any final things? What do you say is going to ship? 5090s. Again, some more GPUs. Those will be our first 5090s in the data center. Should be enough for one rack. And then we got a few more racks coming later. How's Firehose looking? We had to delete more data again. So don't worry about the data deletion from your guys' perspective. It just means you guys are uploading tons and tons of data. We have to either add more drives or go to one copy on our data to not start deleting data. But the whole point of Firehose is to one, get the ingestion up. So we got the ingestion up from like 1% to 5%, kind of spoiling the 099 blog post. But yeah, we like 4 or 5x the ingestion, so we get 5% of every segment coming back. We increased the dongle diversity about 2x, so on 3x's. So we had, I think, 2.5K dongles, 3x dongles in the current training set, and then once we generate a new training set, there'll be 5,000. Do we have data per region? Yes. Let me see if Mitchell posted anything new recently. So Mitchell is currently working. Oh, I can give a quick update. I posted in, I think, general in response to NWarby yesterday on like kind of what we're doing, because there's been a lot of questions about, oh, nav is deleted. What's going on? What is comma even doing? But yeah, as far as the data stuff, so we have about half of every 3x that's in the field now in the training set. So great job, guys. Sunny Pilot's trainable. With Sunny Pilot being trainable, about 95% of all incoming segments are trainable. And then the rest of the 5% is like other forks and stuff. Any comma threes? Yeah, like 80% of the comma threes are in the training set. And then, yeah, with our rewrite, people keep asking for nav too. Yeah. Do you guys have an update on your rewrite? Is that shipping soon? Because the next highest leverage thing for our data, as far as getting more dongles in the training set, is once you guys get your rewrite shipped, we expect like quite a few. I think at any given time, there's like maybe 600 Sunny Pilot users on Wi-Fi ready to like upload to us who are still running the old stuff, which is a lot. So that'll be like a really big bump for the data ingestion. So now you've even got us asking when's the rewrite gonna be finished? Mid-May. Okay, cool. Mid-May. 3 weeks. Awesome. So that's the data update. But yeah, you guys are uploading so much we have to keep deleting it, but we're deleting like the kind of the redundant data. I don't see any recent stuff on like a map I can post for you guys. But we'll try to do something for the blog post for 099 as like a Firehose update, and maybe we'll get some like maps and stuff in there. But yeah, I'm not sure if bigger model will ship for this release. I think Wishing was working on that. Mitchell's working on figuring out. He's doing data set ablation, so we can figure out which data, like how much data we need to train these models, at what scales, and what data is most useful. And then yeah, Harold's working on shipping Tomb Raider. Yusine's working on shipping full ML sim. Casper's working on shipping LagD. Armando's working on some other ML sim stuff. Yeah, I think we have quite a few concrete things to ship you guys very soon. And individually, you should each feel something, and then once we get full ML sim, that's when you kind of get it all. So I think we got a pretty good roadmap now, and we'll be shipping you guys releases at least every 2 months. So kind of the general update. I don't think this kind of stuff about like I don't know. I think this discourse around like the bounties isn't that productive. Around like, is anybody gonna work on like if somebody's working on it, they'll put up a PR. It's like it is what it is. Um, yeah, like there has to be more commits than asking about bounties. Basically, more tokens should be spent on commits and code than like meta discussion around bounties. Like we shouldn't schedule out the bounties with people. Yeah. All right. Cool. Any like final questions? Any final thoughts? 099 next week, next Wednesday. Excited for the Sunny Pilot rewrite to ship. Be getting even more data. We want to ultimately get up to 10% of segments recorded ingested. So that's kind of the target. And once Sunny Pilot ships the rewrite, that'll probably be like up to 8% ish. So kind of where we're at with that project. And I think yeah, hopefully pretty soon the tiny people will have some updates for us too on USB GPU and moving DM back to the GPU or the DSP. Should be pretty cool. All right. We'll see you guys next week where we cut 099. See you guys.